Hey guys, Tor here at Co-Kinetic. This is an updated video telling you how to set up autoresponders out of Mailchimp. So if you have a subscription to our marketing content, then you will know that you have part of the elements of the marketing content is that you get some email content, which you can use both as nurture emails, but you can also use them as autoresponders for when somebody signs up to one of your campaigns. So if we take the Posture Matters campaign, for example, the social media is posted out to your social networks, people click on the links, they're taken to your lead collection page, and when you get a new lead, it will come into this leads segment or this leads tab under each campaign that you're running. Now you will also see under here an autoresponder, which is an inbuilt autoresponder that we have added for your benefit. The trouble is that as we are not a fully fledged email marketing platform, there is a problem with this email not always finding its way to your recipient. So sometimes it gets caught in spam. So I would suggest that you still have this active because there's no harm in not having it active. So there's another separate video showing you how to do that. But it's this text that you can use with a slight variation on a theme that you can use to set up an autoresponder in a site on a platform like Mailchimp, for example, or if you're using just Mailchimp as your go-between and you're just sending those leads from Mailchimp through to another email platform, you can use this email as the basis, but I would advise you to set up that autoresponder in the email platform that you're using. So this video is going to show you very quickly how to do that within Mailchimp. First of all, the first thing you need to do is you need to go to the integrations area and you need to make sure that we have your Mailchimp API details. And there's a separate video explaining how to do that. Once you have connected Mailchimp to Co-Kinetic, you then need to decide which list you want your leads to go into. Now, we used to create a Co-Kinetic leads by default, but Mailchimp changed all their plans and stopped free accounts from having more than one list, which meant that we couldn't create the Co-Kinetic leads one. So where this is the case, if you have your own, if you have a free account with Mailchimp and you only have one list, then you will only see one option in this drop-down menu, and that is the list obviously that you need to check, and that will be your default list. This is actually my main list, and obviously I was using this system before Mailchimp made those changes, so I have a Co-Kinetic leads there, but I'm going to change it to my Co-Kinetic colleagues and friends, which is my main default list, and I'm going to click update. So that now has, you can see there it's got in brackets active, so we know that that's the list. As I say, if you're on a free account with Mailchimp, you will only see one list here, but otherwise if you have a paid account, you have the option to tell it which list to send these leads into. So that's the first bit. Once you've done that, the next bit is to go into Mailchimp, and I'll show you how to set up a autoresponder within there so that it triggers as soon as somebody signs up to receive one of your campaigns. Okay, so for the purposes of this video, I have actually chosen my Co-Kinetic leads legacy list just because it demonstrates better what I need to show you in terms of where the leads go for each different campaign, because we put them into different groups. So if you run a posture campaign, for example, those posture leads will be in a different group to the running campaign or the women's health campaign. So we keep them separated for you, but we put them under groups so that you can then target people if you want to more specifically. So I've opted for this Co-Kinetic leads legacy list. As I say, if you have a free account, you will only have one list and you won't get a choice which one to post to, but that doesn't matter because the principles all are the same. So let me just update that. I have updated because it's showing as active. And let me go into Mailchimp. So in Mailchimp now, lists are called audiences, just to keep us all on our toes. And when you go into audience, if you have a paid account, you can see all of your different lists or audiences down in that drop down. You can also find them by going to view audiences there. I have chosen the Co-Kinetic leads legacy, which is the audience that I want to set these automated emails up with. So if we go to view contacts here, so let's click this, you will see that under your Manage Contacts here, so this drop down, click this drop down here by Manage Contacts, you will find Groups. So let's just click on that quickly. And under Groups, you will have your own groups, but we will create these groups, which are Lead Magnet Download, which is the main one that we're going to work with today. You've also got some groups on Information Preferences and Contact Preferences, which are the other two tick boxes that we collect data from on our lead collection pages. So you can exclude or include or do whatever you want to do based on their choices on those two tick boxes. Let me just show you what I mean there quickly. So let's go into a campaign. If we go to one of our lead collection pages, so let's take this Posture Matters one here, and we go to take that URL and just drop that into a browser window, and that will take us to the lead collection page. You'll see here more free resources like this one and news and free taster events. They are effectively what those two, that's what's being collected in there. And the other one, event sign up, is when you use the modifiable, the editable lead collection pages that we provide for you, which you can use to take sign-ups to conversion events. But the area that you really want for this one is the lead magnet download. So let's just click on View Groups here. And under there, you will see different groups for each of the different campaigns. And the title will be something that allows you to know which campaign it is that they've signed up to. So it will say basically the name of the campaign. And so you can see the different people who have signed up under each of the different campaigns. And we wanted to keep it that way so that if you wanted to target by these interest areas later, or you wanted to run an event, for example, on cycling, you knew where to find all the people who had an interest in cycling. So that's why we've created separate groups for them. So now that I've explained that, let's go to creating autoresponders for each of these segments. So in order to do that, we need to click on campaigns. You can't actually create the emails from within here. I know that it looks like you can because you can click this send and it will send a regular campaign, but the trouble is we're actually trying to automate this email. So what we're trying to do is as soon as somebody gets added to the list, so in other words they've signed up through our method, the contact has come from Co-Kinetic straight into here, it's been dropped into the campaign that they signed up for, and that's when we want this email to trigger, and we need it to do it automatically. So you can't use that send button down here. You could use this automate button here and click email, or you can go into campaigns. But let's go into automate because it knows that it's automatically going to be automated. And then you can see under here it's underlined automated. If we had gone in, just let me show you quickly, if we'd gone into campaigns and gone create campaign, which is the other option that you can do, it will ask you to designate an email and then it would just state it as regular, and regular just means that you are going to send it now, so it's not, or you're going to schedule it for a future time, but we want it to be automated. So you could do it that way and then just make sure that you click that automated option. And then we're going to choose welcome new subscribers. So tags and groups are different, and it doesn't, we're not using tags, so we need to work on groups. So we're going to welcome new subscribers. And it's a single welcome email. You're just going to rename this. I think we were doing cycling, so let's do cycling injuries autoresponder. I'm going to put version 2 because this is an updated video, and then we're going to choose the list that we were working with. In my case, this was the legacy leads list. In your case, it's whatever list you've got active in Co-Kinetic. So remember, that's under here. It's whatever list you've got active in here. And remember, if you're on a free account, you'll only have one list, so it's null and void. You'll just have to work off that one list that you've got. So we're going to click begin. We let Mailchimp do its thing, and then we've got an edit delay and edit recipients. So there's actually very limited choice in here, and I think Mailchimp has changed this slightly. So we need to go one step further. You should see, if this is where you can set when you want the email to go out. So I would suggest you do it immediately. So basically, as soon as they sign up on your lead collection form, this will trigger as soon as they come into Mailchimp. So as soon as that new lead comes into Mailchimp, this email will trigger immediately. So we click immediately and save. But you need to go now into this Use Advanced Settings area. So we're going to click on that. Don't worry about this message, just say Use Advanced Settings. And this will give you the option of choosing exactly who you're going to target. Now this used to be an easy process before, but now they're making us go into that extra level. I think they would probably have tried to simplify it, but we want to go into something a little bit more sophisticated. The point of this is to decide exactly who you want to send to. And we're going to do that, we're going to filter by segment and or tag. So let's have a look. So we click on add. We're going to choose a segment. Contacts match the following conditions. And then we are going to go into this drop down. And this is where you will find your groups section. Don't worry, I've got a lot of stuff in here. You won't have anything like as much of this. But you want to choose that lead magnet download. So you've gone choose segment or tag, contacts match the following conditions. You choose from under the group section, the lead magnet download, and that will give you all of the people who have signed up to campaigns. Now it's important to mention that these groups or these won't be there unless you've had a lead sign up to it. So you basically first need to go through this process. You need to connect your Mailchimp account, make sure that's all working fine, and then you need to go and fill out one of your lead collection forms by going and getting this lead collection URL. You paste that into a browser window, you enter your own details, and you make sure that that whole process works. So you go through that process so that you get a lead into this leads tab, and then you go and that should, if everything is working properly, it will go into Mailchimp and it will create a campaign for whichever campaign you were in. Okay, so in this case we were doing the cycling injuries, I believe. So you go and find, oh there we go, the 8 most common cycling injuries, which is the campaign that we want to set up. You click on that and you save segment. And if you want to add any more preferences, so for example, if you chose to use those other contact preferences, which I suggest you don't because I don't think you need to, and if you're worried about GDPR, then I have an article on my help system about GDPR. But if you do want to use them, you can use those contact preferences to filter more, so you can leave them out or in or whatever you want to do. But I don't think you need to do that, but the option is there depending on how zealous or strictly you want to adhere to your the GDPR rules. But as far as I'm concerned, if somebody has signed up to something, they have shown legitimate interest, and it would be very difficult to prove that somebody didn't want these regardless of what contact preferences they've put in. Okay, so we are going to click Save Segment, which is up there, and now it says, yep, so now it's got conditions in there, and you can always just go in and check that it is the right thing. So if anyone matches lead magnet download of preventing 8 common cycling injuries, this email is going to trigger. And then you just go ahead and you design your email. Okay, so I've just filled out those fields. This first one is the title that you'll recognise it by, so cycling injury autoresponder, or you can say lead magnet autoresponder if you want to. Email subject, I've just put the 8 most common cycling injuries and how to prevent them. You can put some preview text in. Sometimes you see in some email browsers just a preview of the first part of the text, so you can put something in there if you want to. The from name, so this is who they'll see it's from. I normally try and say Tor at Co-Kinetic. And then you can specify the email address that it's coming from. So that could either be your own email address, or I tend to put info because then it comes straight into my support system, but that's completely your call. Click next. And then you have the option of choosing from the different templates or themes that Mailchimp have got. I tend to use just the simple text one. There's a shortcut that you can take here, which is quite cool. So let's just choose the simple one. Okay, so that's given us that's pulled in the text. Then what I tend to do is I delete any headers because we don't really want it to look very salesy. The whole point about this is to keep it very unsalesy. And then the shortcut is basically that with nearly all of our campaigns, the COVID-19 one was an exception, but generally most of our campaigns will have a pre-written autoresponder. So let me just show you where that is. So normally you would find it under the campaign, and you will find a tab. You may not see this other content tab because that tends to be for our full site subscribers, but you will see this email autoresponder tab. If there's no autoresponder there, then don't get on my case about it. We don't always produce them, but generally I do try and produce them, and you just copy and paste this text in. Now bear in mind that these merge fields won't work, because these merge fields are specific to our system, and you're obviously putting them into Mailchimp, which is a totally different system, so we'll need to change those around. But this gives you essentially the text very quickly and easily for Mailchimp. So we would take that merge tag out, and you would go and find your own, so you can click on this little merge tags drop down here, and you would put in the first name there, for example. Now yours might look different because you can rename these fields, but normally it should correspond to first name, and it will put that merge tag in for you. And then you read through and just make sure that it all makes sense, and just read down. So if you've got any funny breaks, you'll obviously need to sort those out. You can delete it, you can completely edit it if you'd like to. That's your choice. And then this needs to change. So this lead collection success URL needs to change. Now that URL is basically this URL. So this is the success page that they would go to after they've finished filling out their form normally. But because you're sending this and you've already got their email address, because obviously they've already entered those details, it's this URL that you want to give them. So you just click copy on there and you go and paste it in here. So if you would like to revisit or refer back to the free downloads in the future, let's take that bit out in those, let me just expand this slightly so it's a bit bigger. If you would like to revisit in the future, just click on the following link. So let's just take those bits of code out. Now what you would do is you just highlight that text, you click that little link button there which looks like a chain, and you just paste that link in that you've copied out of the Co-Kinetic system, and then that will turn it into blue and it will underline it, which shows that it's a hyperlink. So you just read through and you make sure you'd have to take that out and put in your own correct merge fields, and you just edit anything, put in your own sign off, edit anything that you want to edit. Just make sure it all makes sense in the context that you're sending it, not from within the Co-Kinetic system. So just make sure there's no merge fields in there that are Co-Kinetic ones, and then you just click save and close, and as quickly as that you've got an autoresponder that gives people a link back to those leaflets. And this is all merged in automatically. When you set up your Mailchimp account, it will ask you to fill out all these fields, so it will just pull this in. You can see the option to unsubscribe, so that's all good. You're all compliant with GDPR and everything is good in the world. And then you click save and continue, and that should be it. So you just check that all your settings are right. So it's the cycling injury lead magnet autoresponder. It will trigger as soon as somebody joins your audience. So as soon as that lead is sent over from Co-Kinetic to Mailchimp, and this will all happen automatically. Once you set this up, you just need to do this for each of your campaigns. Before you trigger a campaign, you just need to come in and make sure that you've done this, and then once it's set up, it's job done. It doesn't matter when they sign up to this campaign, this will just keep triggering going forward. You don't need any other actions, you've filtered correctly, and you just click next, and that's it. You start sending. I'm not going to click start sending because I don't want to bombard all the people in my cycling injuries list with a random email, but especially as I've put the posture content in for the cycling one. But that basically is the principle. So you would have gone into, for example, our system, you would have gone to find the cycling campaign under the campaigns area, and you would have gone and got that autoresponder text. But do remember, just occasionally there is no autoresponder text because we set this up in a rush and we haven't had a chance to create one. But most of the times, on all the big full campaigns, there will be that autoresponder text ready for you. Okay, I think that should cover it. Cheers, guys. Just quickly, we've got the test email here, so don't worry about this piece of text. Obviously it doesn't know who it's sending it to, so it's just sent it as a test name in there, but you will see that all the other fields are in there as you wanted to. You can just double check that these pages work, so that's always worth doing. So this is the page that they would be taken to when they click that link, and then obviously when they click any of those they will see the different leaflets, and if you've got your branding upgrade then it will have all of your branding upgrade on the bottom there. So it's all quite cool. I like it, it's very neat. And obviously just check that the Facebook link goes to the right place, so that's all fine. So that's the thing to check really with your email. Otherwise everything is fine. It will say test in here, and don't worry about the fact that that is in there because that is just, it doesn't know who it's sending it to at the moment. So as long as you're all happy with that and everything is fine, then you're good to go. So that is your autoresponder. When you click send, that will obviously send to all 40 people who are already in your list. So I'm not going to click send because obviously I don't want to bombard all these people with an email that they're not expecting. Ideally you would set this up. So the ideal thing is to create a lead yourself or ask someone to fill out that lead collection form for you. So let's just have a recap. If you go to setup, you would give them this link. Let me just replace it in here. So this is your lead collection page for the cycling. You would give people the link that I've just pasted in there, or that link. Ask them just to fill this out so that you've got one lead that appears in your campaign. That way you have then one lead in here, and from that point on you've got, that will mean that it sends it over to Mailchimp, so you will then have that group sitting under that audience in Mailchimp, and then you can use it to set up the email just as I've described just here. As long as you've got one person in there and that group's been created, then obviously you can pick it as the segment that you want to send to, and you're all good to go. So you would then click send, that will be active, and every time somebody new joins that segment, they will receive this same autoresponder. So that is as simple as it is. I know this video has been a bit longer, but I just wanted to go through it bit by bit, and it will change this to active, and that will be, and any time somebody new is added to that list, they will automatically receive this email. So that is how simple it is to share, to create an autoresponder in Mailchimp under a free account, segment it so that you've got it going to the right person, and you can still use obviously all of the pre-written text that we give you within the Co-Kinetic system just to make that quicker. And I would still, as I say, recommend that you leave our autoresponder on, because nothing ventured, nothing gained, and it doesn't do any harm, but I would warn you that it does unfortunately find its way into spam folders, and Mailchimp is much more likely to get better deliverability. So if you have 5 minutes to spare each time you set up a new campaign, I would definitely recommend that you go and also set that up in Mailchimp, because remember, it will work within a free account, and it's just an extra level of professionalism, I guess. Okay, hope that's been useful. Thanks, guys.